Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So as we know that Assam is again in the grip of flood with around 57 lakh people affected so far across all the 33 districts. Around 36 people are killed, besides thousands of animals are dead. So in this video we'll try to see what are the possible reasons for which Assam is flooded each year. We will also try to see the possible solutions that will be useful in mitigating the destructions that are caused by the floods. See, Assam has been traditionally flood prone, right? In each year, many people lose their livelihoods, shelter due to floods. Okay, again, a majority of the state's land area is lost due to erosion. So, the reason for floods in Assam can be mainly attributed to two factors, right? So, the first factor is natural factor and the second is due to man-made factors, right? And the natural factor, it includes the incessant rainfall during the monsoons, the nature of the Brahmaputra river, and because of the geographical location of the region, that is, it mainly falls under the earthquake prone area. Okay, and under the man-made regions, this is because of unsustainable habitation, deforestation, population growth in the catchment areas of the rivers are all can be attributed to the floods that appears annually in Assam, right? Now, among the other natural factors, the nature of the river can be mainly held responsible for the traditional floods or for the annual floods in Assam. Okay, so this river Brahmaputra is very dynamic and unstable, right? And it has a basin of around 5,80,000 square kilometer, which spreads around four countries, that is China, India, Bangladesh and Bhutan. Now each of these countries have their own diverse environments, right? So these different environments of the different countries will have different effect on the river, right? Again, this as we know that the Brahmaputra river is a glacial river and it originates in Tibet, right? Now, as we know that the Tibet region is cold, arid and lack of plantations, right? So when the glaciers melt there and it leads to soil erosion, which in turn fills the river with lots of sediments, right? So by the time the river enters Assam, which is mainly a floodplain, so it deposits a vast amount of the silt or the sediments, leading to erosion and floods, right? Now as the river comes from a high slope to a flat plain, right? You can see there, as the river comes from a high slope to a flat plane, its velocity decreases, right? And suddenly the velocity decreases and this results in the river to unloading the sediment. Okay, so we know that the high speed river currents carries the sediments along with it. Now as the speed of the river decreases, these sediments will be deposited in the plain area and hence the riverbed becomes shallow, right? And because of this it leads to floods. Okay, and you can see how the river carries the sediment, right? Again, in terms of the sediment yield, the Brahmaputra's annual sediment yield was 1,128 tons per square kilometer at Bahadurabad of Bangladesh and 804 tons per square kilometer at Pandu of Guwahati. Okay, now this sediment yield means it is the amount of erosional debris, okay, that the river brings with it. Okay, that means it's a kind of choke points. Okay, you can see the points in the map here. Okay, so this is the Pandu in Guwahati here and this is the Bahadurabad in Dhaka. Okay, so these 2 points have the highest sediment yields in the Brahmaputra river. Okay, so in terms of sediment yield, Brahmaputra river comes second to the Yellow river, right? You can see the statistics here. See, so this is the Yellow river and this is the Brahmaputra river at Bangladesh, and this double star is the Brahmaputra river at Pandu near Guwahati. Okay, now as we have seen the reason for the floods, so now we will see how or what are the efforts that the government has taken so far to mitigate this problem. Okay, see, in the year 1982 the Brahmaputra board had suggested that dams and reservoirs must be built to mitigate the floods. Okay, now this idea of constructing the dams and reservoirs has been opposed by many environmentalists. Okay, this is because these dams and reservoirs have a more negative effect. Okay, as compared to the positive effects, the weightage of the negative effect is much more. Okay, so this idea has been dropped, right? So at present the government has only been using the embankments on the river to contain the flood, but again many issues are associated with this approach, because the embankments are that were built long time ago are mostly outdated today, and because of this reason the erosion of the embankments are causing the flood scenario in Assam more worse than earlier, right? Another consideration was taken of dredging the riverbed. Dredging means digging up the riverbed, right? But again these have been facing another issue, as because the experts have said that the dredging of the Brahmaputra river each year will be very costly, because as we have seen earlier that the Brahmaputra river carries a very high amount of sediments with it. Okay, so each year dredging will be not be financially feasible, right? So now let's see what are the possible steps that can be taken to mitigate the floods. So first is the need of a basin-wide approach, right? So as we know that the Brahmaputra river basin is in spread over 4 countries, that is China, India, Bangladesh and Bhutan. Okay, so an integrated basin management system should be brought in all the basin sharing countries, right? For this we must need political cooperation among the countries, right? Again we can adopt the model of the United States. Okay, so in United States they have adopted the model of floodplain zoning. So under this, depending on the vulnerability of the area, that area can be divided into categories, and accordingly certain activities like farming, building house or any commercial activities can be banned. Okay, so as a result this will prevent less damage, right? Apart from that, one can also plant the vetiver grass on the embankments to prevent the soil erosion. Okay, so this vetiver grass has a very anti-erosional phenomenon, right? And it is also used in the pharmaceutical companies, right? So in either way, this vetiver grass has 2 benefits. That is, by cultivating this vetiver grass, the people living in the flood prone areas can become independent, economically independent, and also this grass will help in preventing the soil erosion, right? And to tackle the urban flood, which is a rising phenomenon in today's world, India can adopt the Chinese model of sponge cities. Okay, so in these sponge cities, the pavements are made up of porous asphalt, which absorbs the excess of water and prevents the major disaster, right? So this absorbed water can also be released and can be used as when it is necessary. So this is the discussion of all about floods in Assam, and we have discussed why the flood is a perennial problem in Assam, right? And we have also discussed about the possible solutions that can be taken to mitigate these flood problems. So thank you for watching today's video.